Earlier this month, I was involved in the game jam from Russian game magazine DTF and the game publisher TinyBuild. We had 3 weeks to create a small game with a theme no time to explain. We had 13 people on our team, and audio team consisted of me and a sound designer. I was working on music and audio implementation, with which I was assisted by one of our programmers. The idea for the game was that the player is trying to fix a falling airship. The setting for the game was realism/steampunk in low poly style. So the soundscape should have real life like sounds, and music should involve acoustic instruments, no synths or electronic elements. All audio is done in 2D, and the reason for this is time constraints, since the audio implementation was done in the last 3 days before the deadline and due to amount of cut content from the game. We tried to make so that we had an overwhelming amount of information through the audio. Since the player is trying to fix a falling ship, we thought it would be appropriate that sounds will always be present and overlap each other. The only place on the ship where the player can focus is the lower level, where he needs to fix the engine. We hoped that cutting the sounds in half in that area helped us to focus players' attention on the broken engine, since it's the only thing you hear on the entire ship if you walk inside this area. That was made because we had no UI in the game, and we tried to help the player through visual cues and audio cues without explaining anything. I will show you how I configured music transitions and overall play states in Fmod, and some things we did to certain sounds. First of all, the music consists of 3 themes, one for the menu, one for the gameplay, and one for the win state. For the lose state, I made falling/crashing sound, and there is no music. Since originally the project was bigger in scope, I prepared 25 tracks of the stems, since I thought I would need more control over the music and wanted to play with automation to fade in and fade out instruments. But since the game was cut in half, I ended up with 25 tracks, which should have been only a few boss tracks. The main theme has 5 states, 1 loop for each state. Using tempo markers in Fmod, we can make smooth and seamless transitions. We have 4 transition regions for each state. On each loop, 2 transition regions are for the win and lose state. 1 transition region is for the next loop, and 1 is for the menu theme, since the player can exit to the menu. The menu theme has only 2 transition regions. 1 is for the first loop, and the second is for the win state, which was made for the credits, but I had no time to configure it properly, which I will change in the future updates. The win state has 2 transition regions, 1 for the first loop, since you can restart on the win state, and second is for the menu theme, which is not used as of this moment. The lose state has only 1 transition region, and it is for the first loop. To switch between states and loops, we use 3 global parameters: intensity, win, and lose. Intensity uses 0 to 5 conditions, and win and lose have 0 to 1 conditions. We are switching those through blueprints in Unreal Engine. Intensity parameter is tied to the current height. Height has 5 stages, 1 for each loop. In the lower area, where the steam is, we have a parameter with a 6 speed for a smooth transition. Originally, the game had fire spawns all over the ship, so we had extinguisher with 3 shots and a parameter that faded out the sound and changed the pitch on the last shot to signal the player that the extinguisher is empty. The game has a layer of ambience under the music. It uses cutoff automation when you enter lower area. In the mixer area, we have 2 buses, sound effects and UI. In the game, we use them to mute sounds on exit to menu and to eliminate sounds on the win and lose states. VCAs used to control sound effects and music volume through sliders in the menu. Unfortunately, we had little to no time to experiment with implementation, as I said. But if we had more time, I would have liked to try and place all of a sound design in 3D and see how it plays. Still, I think we did a decent job in audio for this small game. It is important to remember that this is a game jam and not a full release or something like that.